No, it was amazing. That's my spot, bro.
What's your spot?
Sorry about that, buddy. No, there's
No problem.
Sorry about that. I was like working out.
No worries.
Oh, this is you.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that one of these is yours.
Yeah, thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Mecca of Boxing, Madison Square Garden, for a real treat on Saturday night, the World Middleweight Championship between Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Derevyanchenko, live and exclusively on DAZN, streamed across the US, and we cannot wait for a stellar event, and as I said, the World Middleweight Championship at the Mecca of Boxing. Isn't sport great? Isn't boxing great? And there's a lot of things as fans that you just got to see. You know, you got to see Tiger Woods on the back nine at Augusta. You got to see LeBron James slam dunking on the court. You got to see the likes of Federer, Nadal, gracing Wimbledon, and you got to see Gennady Golovkin knocking someone out live. There's nothing quite like it. I've seen it. You've seen it. This is the big drama show. This is the Mecca of boxing, and this is the opportunity for Gennady Golovkin to become a two-time world middleweight champion. His opponent we know very well. Great team of people, great fighter, Sergey Derevyanchenko. Great amateur record. We saw him in the theatre, run Danny Jacobs close for the world title. Now, with his trainer Andre Rozier back in tow, with Luda Bella, with Keith Connolly. Great team of people looking to capture the World Middleweight Championship as well. This is a great event, great undercard. Many of those here today. Israel Madrimov, I believe, one of the top young talents in 154 pound and in the world right now in boxing. Ali Akhmedov, great talent as well. Super middleweight, going to be challenging for the World Middleweight Championship soon. Joe Ward making his debut, one of the great Irish amateurs of all time. Nikita Ababi here, a great fight that Lou will talk about shortly with Barancic as well. This is a great card, and we're looking at a great card and a great crowd at Madison Square Garden on Saturday night. Of course, from the Triple G side, we'll give thanks later, of course, to our sponsors, Tecate and Chivas, and we want to thank them for their support and all of the support from media as we go into a very important moment in the career of Gennady Golovkin on Saturday night. Before we speak to the teams, two very important people to bring up. Firstly, the main man at Madison Square Garden, the man responsible for bringing all these mega events here, ladies and gentlemen, Joel Fisher.
Thank you, Eddie, and I want to welcome everybody here to Madison Square Garden, Chase Square. As always, we're extremely excited to host another great night of championship boxing here at the Garden, at the Mecca of boxing. There's no better place to see a boxing match than Madison Square Garden. I want to welcome Gennady back to the Garden, a big drama show. As everybody knows, we have a tremendous and great relationship with Gennady. This will be his 7th fight here at the Garden. There's nothing like the great fans of New York, his great fans, and there's nothing like, as Eddie said, a fight with Gennady here at the Garden. Saturday night, he's going to face a really tough opponent, Sergey. We've seen him fight here before. His fight, if anybody remembers, his fight against Danny Jacobs here was just an incredible fight. So he's going to put up a great match and a great fight against Gennady. He's a former Olympian, a winner, and he's really hungry. So I think this has got all the ingredients, and it's almost a pick'em fight. It's all the ingredients for just a great, great fight. We're thrilled to be working again with Gennady's team, Tom, Melissa, John, Thorsten, Max, JB, the entire team. They're great to work with. Of course, getting the opportunity to work, which we've worked a lot with recently, and we hope to continue to do a lot more, and I'm sure we will, with Eddie and his whole team, with Frank Smith. They've been tremendous to work with. We're thrilled that DAZN is back with Joe Markowski here. They've done a great job, and if you just look at their schedule coming up, it's just incredible. Congratulations on that. I also want to take a moment to thank my team, in particular Sal Federico, who a lot of you know, has just done an incredible job for us here at the Garden, for me, in all the boxing we do, and everything that we do in the sports properties department. It's going to be a great night on Saturday night. Tickets are available, and I really, really strongly recommend you don't miss this fight, because this will be a great fight, a very competitive fight, just an overall great night of boxing. So thanks again for coming, and we look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday night.
Thank you, Joe. Now we're going to talk to the, as I call him, the MVP of DAZN, Joe Markowski. And before I bring him out, I don't want to steal all his lines, which I tend to do. But I think sometimes we have to pinch ourselves at how far DAZN has come over this 12-month period. It was 12 months this weekend that we started this journey in Chicago last year. And when you look at the roster of fighters, when you look at the schedule, particularly the full schedule of DAZN right now, unquestionably the #1 schedule in the sport of boxing. There's been some great fights made recently on other networks. Most of the time you have to pay $80 or $85 for one night. DAZN is changing that. $99 for the year. And look at the schedule, even through this fall period. Devin Haney recently, Golovkin bidding to become a 2-time world middleweight champion on Saturday night. Alexander Usyk next week in Chicago. Our UK shows, October the 26th, the big unification matchup, Regis Progress against Josh Taylor for the unified championship in the World Boxing Super Series. Katie Taylor the week after that, and of course Canelo against Kovalev as well. November 9th, the big YouTube fight. I know so many of you guys are big fans of in the media. At the Staples Center on November the 9th, it's going to be an amazing event. And packed out November, and of course, the big one, December the 7th, Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz. This is just a couple of months of a schedule, as I said, that is completely head and shoulders above every other platform in the business right now. We're passionate about what we do. We believe we've made a great start against great resistance, and it's only just getting started. Things are only just getting warm. They haven't even hotted up yet. They're just getting lukewarm. We're here to stay. These guys are invested in the sport. Great for the sport, but we have another platform invested in the sport of boxing, giving fighters the opportunity to box regularly, giving fighters the opportunity to make as much money as they can in this dangerous and brutal sport of boxing that they so deserve to do. And this man, having been in boxing now for a year, I'm disappointed that he still has that wonderful hair. I think he should be losing it very soon, but he also walks with the same passion that we do as well. And he's fallen in love with the sport, because that's what we all do, isn't it? We all fall in love with the sport of boxing. Once you see it, once you touch it, once you feel it, there's nothing like boxing. And the great thing is that DAZN have now fallen in love with boxing, and I know they're here to stay. So a man who's putting all his time into that sport of boxing. Big round of applause for Joe Markowski.
As you mentioned, we are 1 year into our love affair with boxing, particularly US boxing. We're very excited to be back here at the Garden with so many of our friends on stage, Lou and Joel and the whole team involved in making this whole night come together. Thank you, first of all, to you and your teams. We really appreciate it. Look, great to be back at MSG. Many of you in the room would have seen us launch our full advertising campaign this past weekend with NBC on Sunday Night Football. The biggest ever audience in the last 4 or 5 years watching that game, watched our advertising campaign start, fight season on DAZN. And the reason we're so confident and we're so passionate about spending that money and buying that advertising real estate is because, as Eddie alluded to, we believe we have the strongest schedule in the history of boxing. Kicks off properly this weekend with a fantastic fight which we'll talk about today, but it's only a part of a wonderful 4 or 5 night schedule in the next 2 or 3 months is really going to capture the attention of not only sport of boxing fans, but broader sports fan community across the United States. Then he mentioned the rematch of the biggest heavyweight upset in some time in Ruiz Joshua 2 on December the 7th. Before that, Canelo Alvarez, arguably pound for pound, best boxer in the world, up against Kovalev in Vegas on November the 2nd. And then a fantastic, in my opinion, not all of you would agree with me in the room, but a crossover bout to bring a whole new audience into the sport of boxing the following weekend, KSI Logan Paul 2. But as I mentioned, it all kicks off this weekend here at the Garden with Gennady Golovkin, our great partner, back in action, in title action here at the Garden. We're tremendously excited about that. We welcome both fighters to New York. Sergei, welcome to the zone. We're very excited to be working with you and your team. We appreciate everything you've done so far to promote the fight. And to Gennady, again, fantastic to be working with you, great partner of our business. We're very excited about the journey to come. Huge test for you to get through this weekend though, and we're very excited to be broadcasting that live and exclusively on the zone. So thank everyone in the media for their time. We look forward to seeing you back here on the zone on Saturday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. We're going to move to Team Derevyanchenko. This gentleman, I can't remember the last time, I don't think I've ever been in the opposite corner to him. You know, I said to him earlier that it's quite depressing that there is someone else in boxing away from the fighters that looks good, and Keith Connolly is one of them. He's a solid 5 out of 10. And I've always been with him in all the fights, obviously with Danny Jacobs, and Keith does such a tremendous job for his fighters. You know, not just that close relationship and that guidance, but also he does what every great manager is supposed to do, which is get as much money, exactly, squeeze the balls, I'll say tickle the ball, and you know, and make sure that, like I said, that he gets what the fighters deserve. That's what great managers do. And I've enjoyed over the last couple of years being with him on that journey, and also, you know, chanting for the same fighter on Saturday. The roles are reversed. You know, we're up against one of his fighters. It's going to be a lot of fun to see those guys supporting their guys and us backing Gennady Golovkin. The manager of Sergei Derevyanchenko, Keith Connolly.
Thank you, Eddie, for that polite introduction. I think. But he told me I was 7 next to you, not 5. So. But thanks everybody for coming today. Felt like yesterday we were here for the kickoff presser. That was about a month and a half ago. Now we're 3 days away from the big event and the biggest opportunity of Sergei Derevyanchenko's life. And spending the last couple of days with him, I can legitimately say the kid is not nervous. He's as cool as a cucumber, and he's ready for the fight. And you don't have 410 amateur fights and win 390 of them and not have a chance to win the middleweight title against Triple G on Saturday. He's a live underdog. I know he's a 4-1 underdog, but it's going to be a close competitive fight. He definitely has a chance to pull it out. I'll be quick here because I know you guys want to hear from the fighters. I just want to give special thanks to a few people here. I want to go out of my way, first of all, and thank Lou DiBella. Lou DiBella did a tremendous job in a lot of different ways. Made certain moves with the sanctioning body. Did a great job negotiating with John Skipper at DAZN, and this fight couldn't have happened without Lou DiBella, so thank you. I want to thank the 2 lawyers that I had a lot of contact with closing up this deal. Alex Dombrov did a great job. He's Lou DiBella's lawyer, and my good friend Sean Palmer that works for Eddie. I want to thank you, Sean Palmer, as well. I want to thank Eddie Hearn, who in my eyes is the best promoter on planet Earth, hands down right now. He's tremendous for the business. He makes the fights and the sport exciting, so thank you, Eddie. Last but not least, I want to thank Al Heyman. He did a great job helping secure this fight. It might not have happened without him at the end. There was one little snag in the deal that he ironed out with GGG Promotions lawyer. And as everybody knows, Al Heyman is the greatest manager in the history of the sport. So I want to thank him as well. Look forward to seeing everybody Saturday night. I think it's going to be a tremendous fight, a tremendous event. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. On to the promoter of Sergei Derevyanchenko, Lou DiBella. Obviously, probably a year ago right now, you being I guess what I call you now, partner in DAZN, with so many great fighters that we work with, from Tevin Farmer to Amanda Serrano, the list goes on. And I think partnering up and being on Lou DiBella's side is a good thing to do. One, because he's capable of saying absolutely anything at any time. But two, he knows the business inside out. And I remember probably running around this place as a 10-year-old, bumping into Lou DiBella when he was at HBO, working with my dad. And I always used to think, who's that crazy guy? Yeah. I know. And who would have thought that 30 years down the line we'd be working together? But one thing I'll say about Lou is, you will struggle to find someone more passionate about what they do.
Oh, yeah.
And more passionate about the sport of boxing. And it doesn't matter if it's boxing, football, the stock market, working in a shop on the corner. Anyone that has a passion for what they do should be respected, appreciated, and feared. And like I said, it's been great working with Lou DiBella, and I know what Sergey Derevyanchenko winning on Saturday would mean to Lou DiBella and the team. And that's all part of this event. You've got the two teams. You've got Lou DiBella shouting and screaming. You've got us, you know, Jonathan Banks, great trainer, Andre Razier. These are all different dimensions of a wonderful fight and a wonderful event. So the promoter of Sergey Derevyanchenko, Lou DiBella.
Great to be here at the Garden, which I think is clearly reestablishing himself truly as the mecca of boxing. Always has been, but once again, the dominant venue in New York for boxing. Great to be here with Eddie and with DAZN and with everybody at the Status and all of you. Yeah, I am passionate about boxing. You know, Eddie talked about it. It's hard to get into this and not love it. In some ways, it's also hard to get into this and not hate it. But overwhelmingly, we have a wonderful sport, and a sport that's dramatic and theatrical and poetic, and I think that this stretch that DAZN is about to have is a stretch that is good for the sport of boxing. And you know, I with Seth Abraham and Mark Taffet and others, we sort of the architects of pay-per-view years ago. And you know, unlike some people, I never screamed pay-per-view is dead, but you do have to look at value. And I watched the great fight the other night. I paid $80 for it, and I got my value because it was a good fight. But to be able to see what you're about to see on DAZN with Triple G and Derevyanchenko Saturday night, and back-to-back major events, Canelo Kovalev, and Andy Ruiz and Joshua, and you know, those would absolutely be pay-per-view events, and they're surrounded every weekend basically for the rest of the year by quality programming, and it's $9 a month. I mean, if you subscribe now for the next 12 months, you're getting the next 3 months at less than $9 a month. It's less than 27 bucks. That's about a third of a pay-per-view, and there are 3 fights coming up that will all be pay-per-view, not to mention everything around it. You pretty much, if you're a boxing fan, have to acknowledge the value and subscribe to DAZN and do it now. And you also have to try to get to the Garden on Saturday night because it's going to be a great show. There's great undercard bouts. Triple G Promotion has some of their young talent on the card. There's some very, very good fighters on the card. Mighty Joe Ward, Irish Joe Ward. You can call him multiple nicknames, but I'm happy that you're making your pro debut on this card. You deserve it. You had an incredible amateur career. And by the way, you're going to see a lot of Irish people in the arena on Saturday night because for a kid that's never fought here before, never fought a professional fight, watch how many people are here to support Joe Ward. Ivan Baranchyk, I promoted as former world champion under adverse circumstances, went over to Scotland after a lot of confusion and fought a hell of a fight against Josh Taylor. He's on the card with against Gabriel Bracero, who's been one of the stalwarts of New York City boxing for a while, and a big ticket seller in New York. So the undercard is very, very strong. And I know that myself, Keith Connolly, Al Heyman, Andre Razier, Darius Tarzino, but by the way, the great Sam Watson, representing on behalf of Al Heyman. And by the way, if we didn't have the fight, we're not able to get that fight with okay onto a PBC telecast, we would not have been able to orchestrate our way into this position. And I thank Al and PBC for giving Sergey the opportunity to get here. As great as I think this man is right here, and I think he's one of the greatest of all time, he'll walk into the Hall of Fame on the 5th anniversary of the day he stops fighting, and the greatest fighter ever to come out of his country, one of the greatest fighters ever to come out of Eastern Europe. All good things must end. And we're not bringing Sergey Derevyanchenko. He's not showing up Saturday night just to compete. He's showing up to win. As great a fighter as Triple G is, he knows what I'm about to say. When you're a great fighter, not every fight in your career you stand to have a real opportunity not to be successful. You're often not in there with people that belong with you because you're that good. Maybe 5, 6 times in a career, you know, particularly these days, hopefully it'll be more than that, and in the future, every fighter will fight the best fights available to him. But, you know, Triple G has always done that. He's fought the best fights available to him, and he's always been that much better. He's in the ring Saturday night with a guy that belongs. And our Saturday night, Sergey Derevyanchenko is going to upset the apple cart. It's going to shock the world. It's going to be another night that people walk out of Madison Square Garden going, wow, what did I just see? And hope to see you Saturday night in the Garden. If not, pull down the DAZN app, subscribe. There's never been a time it's been more important if you're a boxing fan to get what's coming up. Because $27 for what's happening between now and the end of the year is one of the great bargains in boxing. Thank you.
Move on to the trainer and the fighter of Team Derevyanchenko. This man, great trainer. Had the pleasure of working with him throughout our time with Danny Jacobs. May have been a big factor in the Danny Jacobs victory over Sergey Derevyanchenko. That was an awkward time for all, but now back in the saddle with Gary Stark as well. And this man absolutely believes that his charge can become world middleweight champion on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, the head trainer of Sergey Derevyanchenko, Andre Rizet.
Hello, everyone. Before I get started, let me just say that we are a team here. It's just not me, I'm just the mouthpiece today. Our team consists of Sergey Derevyanchenko, my big brother, Gary Starks, Mike Mazel, and our newest acquisition, Balak, the strongest hands on any man I've ever felt in my life. He breaks bones with his fingers. We call them iron fingers, or iron hands, however you want to choose it. But this was a fantastic training camp, and you often hear people say, oh, that was the best training camp ever. Oh, this was the best, and I repeat, the best training camp ever. Why? Because this young man to my left is the best athlete anyone can ever work with. Anyone. We're fortunate enough to have him in our family. And he knows that. He doesn't say a lot. He's very quiet individual. It's either yes or no. And sometimes it's a shake of the head. But his work ethic, his dedication to the sport, and his diligence in rising to the top is why he's going to be victorious on Saturday. This young man to my right, I'm going to start calling him nephew because I see him so much. This is the 3rd time we have to see each other. And I think after that, we're going to go down to City Hall and I'll get the paperwork ready and I'll call him nephew Triple G. But he's a fantastic young man. He's always been a consummate professional when I have had the chance to face him. And this, I would assume, will be the same thing. He's going to come ready to rock and roll, ready to be that special individual. But we have a major force that he will be facing on Saturday. And this time, not only for the fact of, but this time it's going to be a truly difficult task for him to overcome. And I want to say one thing about the promotion. This promotion was on its own volition. There was no bickering, no fighting, no ups, downs. His trainer, Jonathan Banks, I mean, if we walked outside here right now, he got into trouble, I'm right behind him, kicking and punching. I love this young man because he's a fantastic athlete and a fantastic trainer. This is all about these 2 guys. This one and this one. And that's why you're going to have a great fight. 2 great fighters come together finally to put it on and get it on in the Mecca of boxing, Madison Square Garden. I'm done. Thank you.
Excellent, great, excellent. Love it. I love it. It's like DiMaggio. Brilliant stuff. Spoke with passion as always, and he means it. Again, this guy, one of the top amateurs in recent times in world boxing, been a fantastic pro, already challenged and made a great challenge to Danny Jacobs for the world middleweight title. One part of this tremendous fight on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergey Derevyanchenko.
Всем привет! Мне очень приятно находиться на легендарной арене Madison Square Garden и боксировать в субботу. Это для меня большая честь. У меня был очень хороший кэмп. Мы очень хорошо потрудились со своей командой.
First of all, I want to say hello to everyone. Thank you very much for coming. It's an actual pleasure of mine to fight in the world-famous Madison Square Garden. We've had a phenomenal camp for this fight, leading up to this fight, and I'm extremely motivated.
Saturday night, I'm ready for rock and roll. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergey. We move on to Team Triple G, and firstly, I want to say a big thank you to everybody at Triple G Promotions. It's been a joy to work with the wonderful Melissa, the bulldog John Horner. Where is he? I don't know, probably watching somewhere. Torsten, thank you for everything. You guys are great people to work with. You truly have Gennady Golovkin's best interests at heart, and I know you'll be supporting him as hard as anybody on Saturday night. Talk on behalf of Triple G Promotions, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Lowe.
Ain't got nobody up there. He's doing better than me.
Thanks, Eddie. This is an exciting time. Whenever we have a Triple G fight at MSG, there's always excitement in the air. You see the banner out there, hanging right next to Carrie Underwood, who's performing tonight. This will be Triple G's 7th time here at Madison Square Garden. Most fighters dream of fighting here at the Mecca, but to do this for the 7th time, I believe Sal or Joel would know, he's the active fighter with the most fights here at the Mecca Boxing in Madison Square Garden. So we're proud of that. We're proud to have built him here at the Garden. He always brings excitement. You see the theme of this show is the big drama show, because regardless of who he fights, what style, he always makes it exciting. Even if the fight is very defensive, Gennady finds a way to knock them out. He had a 23 knockout streak at one time, a historic middleweight championship defenses of 20 title defenses, and tonight, Saturday night, is going to be his 2nd run. He's going after 2 of his titles to become a 2-time middleweight champion of the world. I want to thank Joel Fisher with his unwavering support of Triple G, Sal Federico, who's been tremendously supportive here at Madison Square Garden. They both really got the vision that we had so long ago to where Gennady's at right now, one of the most marketable boxers in the sport of boxing. I want to thank some of our sponsors, Tecate, Chivas, Technodome from Kazakhstan, and also whenever you see Gennady, whether he's training, whether he's walking the red carpet, he's always the best dressed guy in the room. Jordan Brand, and also Bijan, who's been very supportive over his career. With that, I also want to thank the Triple G side, Melissa Moscow, John Hornauer, Torsten Meyer, Janara, everyone on the Triple G side who, big events like this, and Eddie will tell you that, there's a lot of people behind the scenes, whether on the arena side, the promotion side, the television side, and we have a great team at Triple G Promotions. A fight like this wouldn't be possible without the support of DAZN. DAZN signed Triple G to a multi-fight deal. Joe Markowski, John Skipper, I want to thank you for your support of Triple G, really making fights like this possible. This fight is between 2 guys that actually want to fight. And Joe, one thing you'll learn with the relationship with Triple G, he doesn't back away from anyone. Anyone you put in front of him, a lot of people accused him of avoiding Sergey last year. But this fight has been 1 year in the making, and Gennady be the best partner that you have in terms of, you say you want him to fight a guy, and Gennady will step up to the plate. He's never wavered from that. He's always wanted to fight the best, he considers Sergey Derevyanchenko one of the best right now, and the guy that's willing to get in the ring with him. This is, again, for championship title fight in the middleweight division. Saturday night, there's going to be a lot of fireworks. Sergey doesn't go backwards. We know his team very well. Lou, I've known for many, many years. Keith Connolly, known for a number of years, and also Andre Rozier. Andre has had, this will be the third time at the bite of the Triple G apple. Some people say third time's a charm. I think Jonathan Banks will definitely disagree with that. I see a passion that Jonathan brings, a chemistry that he and Triple G have developed in such a short period of time. The last fight with Steve Rolls was a very short training camp, I think. In fact, the shortest training camp of Triple G's career. The Martirosyan fight last year was a short promotion, but that was the shortest training camp. And the chemistry that they developed and then they improved upon that for this fight is tremendous. The schedule that DAZN has come up with this fall, and both Eddie and Lou have talked about it extensively, when you got the top names in boxing fighting on the same network, same streaming service, it's a big statement to where they've come just 1 year in business and having these type of names on the network. You know, Manuel Stewart, who was a tutor of Jonathan Banks, he always said a fight like this, and he did it at many of the Vladimir Klitschko fights, he said, welcome to big time boxing. Sergey, the middleweight championship of the world at Madison Square Garden against Triple G. Welcome to big time boxing. With that, I want to bring up Jonathan Banks to say a few words about the training camp.
Can't have too much to say. After Andre came up here and said he said it and did it the way he did it. So, as always, everybody said, you know, every training camp is a good training camp, as far as I was concerned. And this one was like all the rest, so it was a good camp. And Triple G and I are looking forward to this fight on Saturday night. And I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. I think it's going to be a tooth and nail type of fight. And looking at even for me, way before this fight was announced, I was always looking at Derevyanchenko, and I always thought he was a good fighter. And I just think this is going to be one of the fights that everybody will keep standing up, sitting down, sitting down. Because I think it's going to be like another 4th of July. When the bell rang. I think it'll be another but fireworks. I think just looking at the styles of the two individuals, it just makes a good fight. And I was sitting down, I kept looking at my man in the front row with the Gabby Ward shirt on. And I just kept looking at it, thinking about this fight, kept looking at it. And those were two guys, I'm making a reference, and those were two guys that were tailor-made for each other. If you put them anywhere in the world and they fight, they all will come out the exact same way. It's going to be a tooth and nail type of fight. And I believe that this fight is going to be that tooth and nail type of fight. And Saturday night is going to be the tell-all of who's going to get out at the end. But overall, it's definitely going to be a good fight.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Jonathan. We move now to, we know there's two fighters in this fight, but certainly one of the biggest stars in world boxing right now. And it's an absolute honour to be working with this man, because integrity and respect are two words that, we have to be honest, we don't see too much of in boxing nowadays. This is something that this man carries with him at all times. Big drama show, the people's champion. I think there are a couple of ways to describe Gennady Golovkin. I prefer another two, which is role model, ambassador. Someone that we can really pin the sport of boxing to and watch how he carries himself to inspire a younger generation to promote the sport in the way that it should be promoted. And Tom spoke really correctly about one thing, and this is something for the great journalists that are here today. Don't waste your breath with the question, who will you fight next? Or who would you fight next? The answer is absolutely anyone. And that's why Gennady Golovkin is such a throwback fighter. Anybody. You know, we know what he gave in this obligation, what he committed to in terms of his fight schedule. There is no one in the sport of boxing that Gennady Golovkin will not fight. The future questions of which he gets all the time are totally irrelevant, because the only thing that matters right now is Saturday night. The chance for this man to make history as a two-time middleweight champion of the world. And as someone that's followed boxing for not as long as some people, but over 30 years, I've been working in boxing virtually every weekend of my life. When I wasn't working with Gennady Golovkin, and I'm back in the UK, and he's boxing, I will set my alarm to get up. I'm a fan of Gennady Golovkin, and I believe every one of you in here is a fan of Gennady Golovkin, because there's no reason not to be. Excitement, energy, like I said, integrity, respect, all the great things in worldwide sport. And I'm so excited to see him back at the Mecca of Boxing on Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, bidding to become a two-time middleweight champion on Saturday night, Gennady Golovkin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so happy, really, so happy because it's great boxing titles coming. I'm happy because my opponent, looking for his team, so great, so strong. Everybody's ready. Everything's ready. I want to say thanks people who support boxing, who support me, who support this show, this DAZN company, all my partners, all sponsors, all people who support me and boxing sport. This is a great time for me, a great time for boxing right now. I want to speak like a fighter, like a boxer. I'm ready. I'm so excited. We have a lot of time for prepare for this event. Please, guys, if you like real fight, don't miss this fight. I see you Saturday night. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gennady. Thank you, Sergey as well. Thank you to all the teams involved. Like I said, to Lou, to Alex Domarov as well, to Keith, Tom, Melissa, John, Torsten, and our team as well, Matthew, Sean, Kevin, Frank. The list goes on and on. Anthony Lever as well. Thanks for all your hard work. Two great teams, two great fighters, one great fight on Saturday night. Make sure you're in the garden on Saturday night, and if you're not, then watch it live and exclusively on DAZN. Thanks for coming. We're going to face the fighters off here now, and we'll see you for a great show on Saturday. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Please sit down.
Exhibit A. Follow it down. Do that down. Let me go live.
Need you guys to put your camera lower.
Please lower down.
Lower.
I better put a zoom in that motherfucker.
Серега хорош.
Yo, green hat. Large. Man, smash that like button.
Hey, green hat, man. You standing